Today, we're going to discuss some other points to keep in mind in terms of starting strategies. We'll start with a personalized introduction. Now, after a potential client lists a potential job and hears back from translators, they'll probably be sifting through like 10 to 30 different introductions. So here you'll want to make sure that your introduction stands out, and for the right reasons. Now, there are various ways of accomplishing this. Some people recommend rewriting your introduction for each new job offer, but in my experience, this is the quickest way to ensure that you will never want to apply for another job again, especially after your 20th application or so. Remember, if the clients are receiving about, say, 30 applications for every job offer, they will only choose one out of the 30. So yes, you may be sending out 20 applications or 30 or even more before you hear back from everyone. And that is a surefire way to achieve burnout. On the other hand, you can't just copy and paste your same application to every new job, since this will guarantee that the potential client will send your application to the very bottom of the heap. After all, if you aren't willing to put in the effort of applying, why should they bother putting in the effort of checking into your credentials? So what is the solution? Well, as with anything else, it's better to combine the best options of each choice. Let's say, as an example, that your main specializations are business and legal translations. In this case, I would set up 3 templates, one for business translations, one for legal translations, and a third for all other translations. On this page, I will show a generic example of a possible template for Italian to English legal translation offers. This is a variation of what I've used quite effectively for several years. The parts in red should be filled out specifically for each client. I tend to leave these in caps and in a different color on my templates, since it's a glaring, extremely obvious reminder for me to fill in these fields. First of all, as you can see, the name. If you don't have a name for the client, just write hello. Don't use the agency's name, or even worse, to whom it may concern. It's fine to just write hello if you aren't sure about the name. The second part in red should restate what the client wants. So usually this will be the name of their request, such as 10-page Court of Padua document or something. Once again, if there is no real usable name, you can just stick with legal translation here as well. This third part should mention the job you've performed which is most similar to the one being requested. So for example, it's documents for the Court of Padua or something like that, something that is somewhat similar to what's being requested. Now, if you notice right under this, I follow this with what I think will be the most impressive part of my generic experience, describing how I'm a published author in both languages. I say generic experience because I use this as a template for any different client, right? So I can show that I'm a published author for these 2 publications, and then I entrench my credentials by stating that I'm fully bilingual, after which I try to establish a trust factor by providing a link to my profile where they can always find me. And yes, I always provide the same pros.com profile no matter where I'm applying to, whether it's through the Pros website or another website. Now, it's only toward the end that I state my rate. As you can see right here, obviously the price per word might change depending on various factors such as the subject matter, the length, the type of document, the deadline, and obviously how desperate you are for work. At the end, there's just a polite salutation, and at the very bottom, I add another factor of trust, or that's the way I see it, with a link to my About Me website as well as the ATA listing. I call all these factors of trust because it shows that they can find me on the World Wide Web anytime they want. I'm not just some fly-by-night person who calls himself a freelance translator, and also I won't disappear very easily. If I'm in so many places online, and including a pros.com profile, which I obviously paid for, and an American Translator Association listing, then it shows I'm at least somewhat serious about what I do. Now this, of course, is only a template to be used as an example. I post it up here because it has worked quite well for me, but chances are you will have your own strengths and you may even have a better way of stating them. The main point I want to emphasize here is to have a reason for stating everything you state in your introduction. A good way of doing this is to be able to give a reason for each sentence you write. Ask yourself, does this phrase add anything that hasn't already been stated? If so, is it something that will make the client more likely to hire me? These are the types of things you should have in mind. Also, keep in mind that it can be as personalized as you wish. The only limit is how much time you wish to dedicate to it. In other words, you can have several templates for various types of legal translations, or you can send some samples to potential clients, or even without their having requested them. You could even send pictures if you imagine they will help, or if someone says they need a precise translation, you can add that you are meticulous and have great attention to detail, etc., etc.